So let's review something that we have learned. Let's start from chapter 3, right, for these videos. So in chapter 3, we started to talk about the flow and flow of control, which is branching. When we start to introduce you to flowchart, pseudocode, if-else statements. So those are basic things that when you start to write program, you need to lay out your logic before you want to implement it in flowchart. So simple if-else statements. You see curly braces is not required. So this is expression, just true or false, right? That returns. If it's true, just go execute a statement. Else, then it's false. But on your test, you're gonna see that it's very challenging when you're omitting the curly braces, and you have multiple if-else or nested if-else, right? And we have seen on the class when we do it that we have proof that all of you answered it wrong. So that's why we don't review. You're going to be having an issue in your test. Make sense? So make sure you understand the concept of having curly braces here. In programming, good practice always put curly braces. But you see that textbook show you can omitting it. But you should, right, for multiple statements. And now, if you want to review about that, you can watch the previous videos. Okay, we're not going to do it again. We're going to just say what we cover here. We have covered if-else with the Boolean algebras, logics, Boolean operations, comparison, not equals, greater than, equal, less than, equals, right? And we have the AND, right? When you want to add, right, two conditions into if, use AND operators. And you can use OR, right, with the pipes, two pipes. This is OR. You can do not, exclamation mark, right, not. And we talk about, in string, we talk about equals method. If you compare an object of a class, like string is a class, we have an access method. You should use dot equals instead of double equals, right? Like string, you should use dot equals when you compare object. Okay, the reason why we want to do that because you want to compare. Let's talk about this real. For example, if I declare an int a, this is an integers, give the values 15. Int b, give values to 10. You can see if I say int a equals to int b, it's going to replace the values of b to a. Right? Yeah, a to b. A to b. So, you see, this is how the memory is being managed in physical memory for Java. But if you talk about object, like this is an object C1, a class named circle, like a string is a class. And this is C2, right? You have two objects. When you declare initialize C1 with the size here, it's actually point to that location. It's not assigning. You store just the pointer, right? If you do equals, it's going to move the pointers, right? This is assigning. Yeah, all objects still there. And garbage collection will take care of by Jerry and will clean it out. So if you look at that, and when you want to do comparison, we do int A equals to int B, it's going to return true because it's compare values, right? But if you do like C1, C2, even it's pointing to the same small circle size, but it's going to return false because it's not the same object. But after you assigning it, then it's going to be true because it's pointing to the same. So that's the reason why you don't want to use equals when you're dealing with the object. When we talk about object, that means like scanner, keyboard. Keyboard is an object, right? Like when you recall instance of the class, we call object. When you instantiate, right, we call the action. So this is explaining why. Okay. So that's why you want to do dot equals instead of two equals. Something that you have to keep in mind in Java. Alright, so we also talk about if-else statements, right? You can do if, true, this is going to do if, the next statement, and you can do else, if else, if else. Or you can do nested if else, if inside, right? If else inside if, right? So multiple if else is another one that we do like that. If else, if, right? So we talk about that, which you can just make it like that, if else, if in the same line, like that. So then we showing you just multiple branches like that, if else, just flow chart. And we show you the grading, right? Program how to say A, B, C, D grading criteria. This is case study. Now, we also, like I said, if you have time, just go through this self-test. That's going to be good too. One thing that I want to show you that we didn't talk about, this one. So this is a shortcut of if-else. Okay, so you can do if true, you do this, right? Then you can just say, you say max equals to n1, right? So you use this when you want to assign the values, right? So this is the expression, like it's just like if, before question mark is like if. If this is true, you're going to do n1. This is like else, that means false, you can say n2. And what you're going to do, you assign that values to max. It's just like you're writing code like this. But you can just put in one line. You do that when you want to assign something to a variables in your expression. You don't have to do this whole thing. Alright, just do this. Now let's test that. Like, it is another program, right? Hours work less than equals 40. So when you want to calculate the over, right, the extra hours pay rate is going to be 1.5, right? So you can just do shortcut here, like pay equals to expression right there. If the hour work less than equals to 40, you use this regular pay rate. Otherwise, just do regular pay rate plus the overtime, which is multiplied by 1.5 pay rate. Okay? And system exit 0 is just exit the program. Now, let's practice on this one. Alright, so we're going to do the if-else like the shorter way here, right? We said declare username equals to tennis. And we said username dot, and we talk about we have to do dot equals, not two equal signs, because this is object. So username dot equals. So this is an expression, true or false, right? If it's true, what do you do? We're going to say hello, concatenate with, now is the username. Else, what we're going to do, we're going to say fail, right? Authentication. Okay. Now, I'm going to say string result. See, it cannot stand alone, right? It has to return the values. And then you can just say system.out.print the result. This is like an if else, right? Hello, tennis, right? Now, if you use scanner and read in username that entered wrong, then it's going to be fail. So that is a shorter way to do that. And you see on the tab. Okay. Now, if I put exit, it's pretty much just exit the program, right? At the end. Like, normally it's exit by itself already when you run this type of program. But sometimes you might want to say, like if you have program in the loop, like you can say make it exit the program. If equals, then exit. Else, else is pretty much just you don't need it. We're just going to loop back if you want to loop back and prompt the user to enter information if we never exit, right? But once it's done, just say hello and exit. Right, so we can just say while, right? While it's not true, right? Not true. If it's equals true, while not true, you're going to come back and maybe if you use scanner, just import scanner. We're going to prompt the user to enter, right? In this case, we initialize this system.out.print and ask user to enter username. So user is going to enter, then that is the username equals to keyboard dot next, right? So pretty much it's just going to keep prompt the user to enter, right? Until, right? And keep checking the result. If it's equals to tennis, then we say hello and then we exit. Otherwise, it's keep crawling, right? And keep failing, right? So, username is a T, fail, and prompt again, yeah? So, that's the loop. PT again, right? Now let's say tennis. Hello, tennis, and exit. That's why I stopped the program. So that's when you want to use system.exit. Okay?